Hey, namaste all. So I promised a cooking video and I don't have the ingredients that I wanted for this Moroccan stew, but I'm just going to make it work with what I have. But I will post the Moroccan squash and Moroccan stew below this YouTube video. So I hope you're doing okay today. So I have a primitive electric stove and I just put some grapeseed oil. I like to use that to saute my onions. So I'm going to put my onions in here, um, onions, and stir that around. And I just want to let you know the most important ingredient in cooking is you. It really is, staying attentive and enjoying what you're doing and using spices. I would say if anything made my cooking taste good, it is that, that I do pay attention to it. So anyway, I added some onions and just stirring those around. They are yellow onions, organic. Try to use organic as much as possible. Some garlic in this. A lot of times I don't use garlic because in Ayurvedic cooking, garlic is considered not, makes the mind a little more unsettled. Garlic is very heating, but with spring and with COVID-19, heating is good this time of year. So I added my garlic. I'm just mixing that around a little, letting everything love each other. Yeah, okay, just a Moroccan stew, squash and chickpea Moroccan stew. It's really good because, you can serve it with a variety of things like couscous. You can add a dollop of yogurt on top. You can chop up some green onions when you're done. But, really simple onions and garlic, right? So I have my stove on medium. And if you have a gas stove, I am envious. I'm in Florida, and we don't have gas stoves, or we don't have access to gas unless you get it from, have the tanks delivered. So we just don't have that going on. But anyway, so the onions are happening, the garlic is happening, and I'm just going to add my squash. It's already cut up. It's just regular, whatever squash I can get. I did it, chopped it up a few days ago, so can't quite remember. It's a nice butternut squash. That's probably the best. I think it is butternut. So I'm like, letting that also enjoy each other. Because really stews and soups, when everything is cooked together, it's easier to digest because the flavors have melded together and the vegetables have, and whatever you put in there has cooked together, so your body sees it more as one food. So it'd be easier to digest a stew or a soup than cooking all these things separately and then putting them together. So anyway, I have my squash in here, stirring it around. I've never done a cooking video before. Fun. It doesn't call for green beans, but you know what? I had green beans on hand. I had them delivered from the farmer's market a few days ago, and I don't want them to go bad. They're really fresh right now, so I cut those up. So I'm going to add those too, because, why not? And just stir those around. And the recipe does call for white potatoes. And like I said, today I'm modifying because what I have access to, and I don't just run out to the store now every few days. So it's what I have on hand. And what I did have on hand was purple sweet potatoes. I do like white potatoes with this recipe, but this is what I have, and I cut them up, and they're organic too. I'm just going to add those in, purple. It's kind of pretty. So you have at least a colorful dish going on. Now, while I'll have these things together, this is when I add my spices. I add my spices when all the vegetables, before the liquid's put in, so that the spices surround every vegetable. And this one, and I'm sorry to say I don't measure, but I will put the measurements for you on the bottom. I do happen to have some sweet curry powder, and that's good with this particular stew. There is cinnamon stick that is called for it, but I'm skipping that today because this does have cinnamon in it. It smells really good. Love the smell of my spices. And, you know, I'm just putting what I feel in. What do I feel? Okay, there we go. Sweet curry spice. Yum. When I'm done with the spice, I put it in a special area. I do like coriander, so I'm going to add a little coriander here too. Maybe just, I don't love it as much as cumin, so I'm just going to add maybe, I don't know, 3/4 of a teaspoon. And my cumin, yes, cumin, yum. Such a good spice. And what are spices for? I always tell my workshop participants and my clients, spices are good for digestion. Spices help with taste, and when anything helps with taste, it facilitates digestion. So cumin, yum, love cumin. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of turmeric in. I have bulk turmeric that I put in jars because, turmeric's so good for you. A little bit of that. I didn't use my mustard seed. Put that aside. So I'm just going to stir everything around because I want all the vegetables coated with the spices that I just put in there. I'm also going to put some black pepper. Pepper here. Yum. It's nice to, you know, grate it yourself because it's fresher. Fresh is good. Okay, so everything's going to love each other in here. I know it sounds weird, right? Just love the vegetables. They're loving my attention. And there you go, nice colorful beginning with the spices. I can smell them. I can especially smell the sweet curry. Now what I'm going to do, let those kind of go at it for a bit. I do have some tomatoes that I diced. This recipe calls for canned tomatoes, but I don't use canned anything. And many times I do take the skin off tomatoes. That's another thing that I'll show you in another video. But I am going to add the tomatoes. Yeah, there we go. Stir it around. And you know, you don't want to put the chickpeas in there and stir them around because you don't want them to the skins to come off and for them to get mushy. And I did soak these the other day and cook them, so I used, you know, just hard store-bought chickpeas. Again, I try to avoid can as much as possible because, I mean, you don't have to, but, you know, it's cheaper and it's nicer when you do it yourself. You don't have cans to deal with or open. It's kind of a safe bet, you know, if you can buy lentils and beans and rice and vegetables and fruits, not in a can, and you cook them, you're likely eating healthy. So I'm just stirring that around. And I put it on high because I really want them to be happy. See, nice and colorful. I am going to add a broth. Many times I'll add water also. I am cheating on this one. I have a box broth, and I know not everyone does bone broth, but I do, and I try to. I do make my own bone broth as well, but this happens to be chicken bone broth, and you know, food is medicine, and bone broth happens to be my medicine. It might not be yours. So if it's not, just put vegetable broth in here. That's very cool too, or water. I mean, I've had this dish taste great just with water. Like no problem. Especially if you're a vegetarian, I respect that. I was a vegetarian for a very long time until I had some issues. So food is medicine. It is. And that was organic, by the way. So now everything is really just all together here. And I put the heat on high. It's going to be good. And then as soon as it starts boiling, I'm going to put the chickpeas in there and cover it and just cook until the potatoes and squash are done. Probably 15-20 minutes because there's nothing else that has to get done in there. There's no meat or anything. So, and I always add the salt last. You know, it's just a good practice to add salt last. I actually have some salt that I bought in France a few months ago, and all I have to say is I buy no cloves in France. I buy spices. Yeah, I mean, I just love spices wherever I go. They mean a lot to me. And, you know, I just enjoy having different spices around. I have a spice cabinet that I honor in my home. Okay, so that's about boiling, and then I'm going to add the chickpeas. Okay, so these are in the fridge. Like I said, I cooked them a few days ago. Wow, it looks great. Now, after this dish is done in about 20 minutes or so, or while it's cooking, you can put on some couscous. You can put on, if you don't do wheat, you can put on some rice. And what I like to do is have something like rice or couscous on the side, and then have this beautiful stew with the couscous or the rice. And then I'd like to add a dollop of yogurt on top of the Moroccan stew and put a little cumin powder on top of that, because it gives a nice balance of flavor. You know, you have all 6 tastes there, and so it's a beautiful thing. And you can have a side salad with that. So simple dish, you know, except for the cutting up. You have to do that beforehand. So I'm just going to let that cook and put a lid on my creation. There we go. And kind of keep an eye on it. And that's it for today. And remember, spices help with digestion. So you can get a lot of organic spices now in the supermarkets or in health food stores or health supermarkets. And I do like Mountain Rose Herbs. I do get their spices, and also Banyan Botanicals sells great spices. So that's it for today. It's under 12 minutes. And namaste, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.